There's a massive honeybee swarm that I just happened to notice while I was out getting ready to hike into the woods. And this massive honeybee swarm landed on this small shrub. And it was heavy enough that it actually bowed the main part of the shrub right over. I say shrub, it looks more like it might be a small apple tree. Either way, look at how heavy this ball of bees is. The branch is completely bowed over onto the ground, just hanging there, making it probably one of the easiest honeybee swarm catches I've ever had. Watch how I do this. Since the ball of bees is so low to the ground, I'm just going to use an old tire here, and I'm going to put the tire underneath the branch. I'm going to have to hold the branch up and support it in the meantime. I have a stringed bottom board here. I was looking for a solid bottom board, but there wasn't one easily available, so I just grabbed the first thing I could, and I'm going to put an empty deep on the bottom here, so this will be the main brood box. Most of the frames in this deep box have blank foundation. It's just plasticell foundation. None of it's been drawn out yet because swarm bees are prepared to draw out comb like crazy, so I definitely want to take advantage of that ability to get fresh drawn comb from these bees. The assumption that I have here is that this is probably a virgin queen. Reality is there's probably several virgin queens in this swarm, so it might take them a couple weeks to go out and get mated, a week at the latest, and by the time they do that and come back, there should be plenty of drawn comb for them to lay in. Something else I always try to do when I have a swarm like this is I put some fresh honey inside that hive. That honey is certainly going to entertain those bees for a while. Several of them are already dropping down inside that brood box and eating up that honey because that's what bees do. They want to eat that, preserve that, and store that away, and that just helps draw those bees down in there that much quicker. This is such a large swarm, I am going to add one more box to this hive, and it's going to be another deep box. I'm going to put it right on top here, so I've got to lift up this branch and slide this under. This box actually has some drawn comb in it. That drawn comb will be really crucial for them, especially to have on top, because these bees are going to want to start storing nectar and pollen right away. And if they can do that in the top like they should, and then draw out the comb in the bottom for the freshly mated queens to lay in later, that is definitely ideal. I'm going to give you a little bit closer look at these bees as they slowly work their way down into the hive here. I'm going to grab a pair of branch cutters, and I'm going to actually put a couple cuts in this branch so that once it lightens up and enough bees come off it to remove the weight, it doesn't just spring right back up really fast and throw that swarm. I don't know if it would do that, but I'd rather play it safe. I'm also going to use those branch cutters, and I'm going to start to trim off parts of this branch here and little by little shake the bees so they start going down inside there. If I leave the branch hanging over the open top of this hive like this, it could take them hours to go down inside if they decide to at all. In the meantime, they could swarm away. Where once they're inside and I can slide that inner cover on and then the outer cover, they're much more likely to want to stay in that hive and establish a new hive for me. I'm going to slow things down here a little bit so you can see each individual branch of this is going to have a big ball of bees on it. So all you got to do is give it a little shake. The ball comes right off, and you can see the bees don't even panic too much. They're just going to drop right down inside the hive there. I look at the branch before I throw it on the ground. I want to make sure there's no queen on there, whether she's mated or not mated. Check that branch and make sure you're not going to throw the branch on the ground and throw the queen away with it. That would definitely cause an issue. Snip off some more branches here. Got to be careful not to crush any bees. The first bee that gets crushed and emits any kind of panic pheromone, and this whole swarm could just go absolutely crazy on me. Look at all those bees, and they just come off so easy. Just a little shake, and the majority of them just fall right into the hive. As I go through and do this branch by branch, you can see those bees are starting to move much quicker down into the hive. The queen probably already went down inside there, and that's why the bees are so content to do that themselves. Once the bulk of the bees is on top of that hive and they start working their way down inside, I'm going to be able to slide on a feeder rim just to create a little bit more space, and then I'm going to be able to put the outer cover and inner cover on, pretty much securing these bees inside the hive, and then they can start to draw out comb and start to establish a new hive for me. By sliding the rim on and not just setting it on top, I can avoid crushing any honeybees. Same thing with that inner cover, slide it on, and once this whole swarm has calmed down enough, I'll come back later and move this hive into the bee yard that's just off to the left here, where this swarm actually came from. I'm not sure what hive the swarm came from, but I'm sure that it was from one of my hives for how close it is to my bee yard right here.